Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going into uh, a really remarkable series of events. It all centers on just a few people, a family, their longtime servant, and a little girl from the neighborhood.
And a plant.
And a plant. You can't forget the plant. The whole thing is anchored by this one piece of foliage, ivy gate.
Right. And our approach today, for you listening, is to treat every single detail from our sources as a real lived event. We're not doing literary analysis.
No.
We are diving into the motivations, the feelings, the shifting power dynamics between these people as if it all really happened.
And it all starts with the narrator's relationship with their own home. Or more specifically, with their gate.
It's this very specific, you could almost call it a superstition, this deep personal affinity for ivy gates.
It's fascinating. It's more than just liking them. It feels like a requirement for them to feel at home.
It is. The narrator points out that 3 of the 5 houses they've lived in some pretty high-end parts of the city, Shibashirogan, Ayama Onden, and now Akasaka, they all had these ivy gates.
And the houses that didn't.
They didn't stay long. They described the feeling of an ivyless gate as lonely, alienated.
I think the line was like electric light glancing off an office worker's visor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sterile, so cold. For them, a home needs that cool, flourishing feeling that only the ivy seems to provide. It has to have this connection to nature or they just can't settle.
So the ivy itself becomes a kind of litmus test for a house.
A litmus test for the family inside the house. That's the key deduction the narrator makes.
Right, because for the ivy to grow that luxuriantly, to completely take over the main gate.
The people inside have to let it. They have to tacitly agree to be inconvenienced by nature.
They're essentially sacrificing their main entrance.
Yes. They're choosing to use the small, humble wicket gate every single day just so the plant can thrive. And that choice implies a certain kind of life.
The slow life.
A slow, quiet household life. A place that isn't about, slamming doors or rushing in and out. The gate becomes this perfect mirror for the temperament within the walls. It suggests patience.
So that's the baseline. Tranquility and patience. But the ivy itself is anything but static. The narrator's descriptions of it through the seasons are, well, they're just astonishing.
They give the ivy its own character, its own story arc. In midsummer, it's this overwhelming force. A dense green wall. The leaves are layered like fish scales. You can just imagine the deep, cool shade.
And then autumn comes, and it's a total transformation.
Suddenly it's delicate. The description is beautiful. Goldish vermilion raincoats of brocaded straw. It's like the whole gate is wearing this temporary, beautiful costume.
But then winter hits. And that beauty turns into something else, something much starker.
Stark is the right word, almost frightening. The stems are described as skeletal.
The bones or network of nerves of some prehistoric reptile. That line it's jarring, isn't it?
It really is. It suggests there's this raw, primal, ancient force just beneath the surface of this quiet domestic scene. It's not all gentle and pastoral.
It also gets compared to elaborate designs of steel curlicues on Renaissance gates.
So you have both the natural and the man-made, the prehistoric and the historic. It's this incredibly complex object.
But the narrator is clear that the best time is spring.
Oh, absolutely. The new growth. That's when it brings a pleasurable, braced-up feeling. The new leaves are translucent like a waterfall, and the young shoots?
The color of stone bamboo.
Huh.
They have this lovable freedom and energy. And it's this burst of new life that finally catches the eye of our second major player.
And this is where Maki enters the story.
The old maidservant.
Yes. And up to this point, we're told she is completely indifferent to nature. She just doesn't notice it. Her world is very internal, very defended.
The description of her is pretty tough. She's past 50, she's inflexible, really hardened by life.
A very painful history. 2 divorces, she's childless, she's cut off from all her relatives. The key phrase is that she has a hard shell of ego.
She sounds like someone who has deliberately walled herself off from feeling anything, really.
And you can understand why. But then, one day in early summer, these new ivy shoots, they break through that wall.
She actually stops and looks at them.
She does. She's so impressed that she makes this comparison to the tasseled woolen shawls that we wore in the old days. It's this little flicker of memory, of softness.
And it's more than just a passing glance. She starts paying attention.
This is the crucial detail. She observes that the tips shoot out 2 or 3 inches every day.
She's measuring the growth.
She's measuring it. She's engaging with it. She is, for the first time, forming a relationship with something outside of herself.
And the narrator sees this happening.
And understands it completely. They surmise that these little green shoots are drawing out a gentle side of her hen she's long suppressed. It's becoming a necessary outlet for love.
A safe outlet. A plant can't hurt you.
Exactly. It's a way to subconsciously compensate for the hardness of her lot, for that total lack of human connection. The ivy is predictable, it's flourishing, it asks for nothing back. It's the perfect substitute for human affection.
And the narrator encourages this, right?
Right.
They see the sadness in it, but they also see the necessity.
They do. They get it. But, the moment you invest that much emotion into anything, even a plant,
You make yourself vulnerable.
you create a vulnerability. And that intense personal stake she now has in the well-being of this ivy, well, that's what sets the stage for the conflict.
And the conflict arrives very, very quickly.
The scene is set so perfectly. The narrator is in the study. It's a peaceful day. They can smell the mild, resinous smell of the pine tree.
And outside, the ivy is described as this huge moving force, an ocean current, or tide on the move.
This great surging force of nature, and it's about to collide with a very sharp, very human disruption.
A scolding.
A fierce scolding coming from just outside the gate, right where those new shoots are.
And the person Maki is yelling at is Hiroko.
A little girl from the tea shop down the street. She's described as precocious.
And she's not alone. She has 4 or 5 of her little friends with her, and they're all giggling.
Which immediately puts Maki at a disadvantage. She's lost her confidence because this little girl is not just taking the scolding. She's answering back. She's challenging her.
It's this brilliant little game of cat and mouse. Maki demands to see Hiroko's hands.
Right. She's looking for the evidence. Sticky sap, something to prove it was her.
But Hiroko's too smart for that. She puts on what's called the put-on voice of a good child and just holds out her hands, this grand theatrical gesture.
Total defiance, framed as perfect obedience. It completely stumps Maki.
All she can say is,
The test completely failed. The kid outplayed her.
So Maki tries again. She demands to know who did it. Name the culprit.
And this is the moment that changes everything. Hiroko refuses. And the reason she gives...
She says it would be lacking in human feeling.
Chilling, isn't it? From a child. The other kids start giggling and repeating the phrase because it sounds so adult, so funny to them.
But for Maki,
For Maki, who has spent her entire life feeling isolated, being seen as hard, maybe even being accused of being heartless, for her, that specific phrase is like a physical blow. A shot to the heart.
the narrator sees her get incredibly excited, indignant. She lashes out.
And her insult is so telling. She tells Hiroko to go become a woman orator.
It's so specific. It's an attack on Hiroko's cleverness with words, the very thing that just wounded her so deeply. It's rooted right in Maki's own pain.
But then almost immediately there's this reversal. The kids run off, and what does Maki do?
She calls after them, but her voice is completely different.
It's an unnaturally sweet voice, and she's begging them, please, I beg of you, don't carry the ivy anymore.
It's a total collapse of her authority.
It is. Her emotional investment in that ivy, her proxy love, it's just been completely exposed and, in a way, shamed in public by a child. She's desperate.
And when the narrator goes outside to see the damage...
The evidence is right there. The ivy shoots are torn off in a perfectly straight line.
Right at a child's height.
Exactly. The description is so vivid, it's like a water imp haircut on a modern girl. It's not random vandalism. It was precise, strategic, almost an artistic statement of mischief.
Which highlights how calculating Hiroko's actions were. This wasn't just an accident.
No way. And the narrator, interestingly, finds a sort of funny, flippant quality to it. This childlike naturalness. They predict the kids will get bored of it in a month or so.
And they're right. But for Maki, the damage is already done. And it's not about the ivy anymore.
Not at all. The wound from Hiroko's words, lacking in human feeling, has completely shifted her focus.
The ivy was the catalyst. But now her obsession is human.
It is. She becomes nervously vigilant, constantly rushing outside, muttering, it's that brat Hiroko.
Even long after the children have stopped coming.
Which is the most telling part. The narrator says her rushing outside had become a purpose in life. And when the threat was gone, she was disconsolate. She was actually sad about it.
Because the object of her obsession was gone.
The narrator puts it perfectly. The little girl had coiled herself around Maki's heart. Maki now feels lonely unless she can at least say Hiroko's name.
It's this incredible emotional need. And that need creates the next step. The pretext.
The pretext of the tea.
Right. She needs a reason to see Hiroko, to engage with her.
So she starts going out of her way, crossing several streets, just to buy tea from Hiroko's family shop. It's completely inconvenient.
And her excuse is so transparent.
It's almost funny. She claims it's because they give you a full measure. The narrator calls this cunning, but it's really just a clumsy cover for this profound need to connect with the girl who turned her world upside down.
The narrator even suggests she should just lean into it, become Hiroko's patron.
And through this patronage, Maki starts gathering intelligence. She starts to understand Hiroko's world.
She sees the tea shop. It's modest.
Yeah.
The fancy pots on display are just for show. They're dusty.
The real business, the good tea, is sold right out of the supplier's boxes. It's a humble operation.
And then she learns the crucial piece of information about Hiroko's background.
This is the key that unlocks everything. Hiroko is an orphan.
Cared for by a frail aunt and a feckless, Jess-loving uncle.
That's the one. And they intend to adopt her, but it's clearly not a secure, loving environment.
And this explains everything. It explains the two Hirokos.
Exactly. The pert, precocious, defiant girl at the gate is the one who has to be tough to survive on the street, but the girl inside the shop.
She's cowering and timid.
Because she has no real parental security, she's constantly under pressure from these guardians. And in that moment of understanding, Maki realizes they are connected.
Loneliness attracts loneliness.
That's the narrator's conclusion. These two isolated people have found each other even through conflict.
Which brings us to this next scene, which is so tense and so revealing.
The narrator has a front row seat. They're at the framer's shop next door, and they can hear everything happening in the tea shop. But Maki has no idea she's being watched.
So we're getting this raw, unfiltered interaction.
We are. And Maki walks in, and right away we see the rigid rules of this little shop.
She's only buying something small.
Yeah.
A 7-cent tea strainer cap.
Very cheap. But she demands the complimentary cup of tea that's usually reserved for customers who spend at least 20 sen. She argues she's a regular.
And Hiroko's reaction is just shocking at first.
It is. After everything, you'd think she would bend the rule for Maki, but she doesn't. She holds absolutely firm.
The rule of the house.
Yeah.
She says she can't serve tea to a 7-cent customer.
And Maki is crushed. She feels rejected, defeated. She calls Hiroko heartless.
And there's that word again, or an echo of it. Lacking in human feeling. Feels like the whole relationship is about to crumble over a few sen.
It really does. It seems like a total regression. But then comes the gesture.
The physical act that reveals the truth.
Maki stands up to leave, angry and bitter, and Hiroko calls her back.
Not to give her the tea.
No. To do something much more intimate, she reaches out and straightens the back seam of Maki's yukata.
And for anyone who doesn't know, a yukata is a light summer kimono. Adjusting someone's clothing like that, especially the back seam, it's a very personal, almost motherly thing to do.
It's an act of care, of private affection that completely overrides the public commercial conflict that just happened. It's a secret message.
And while she's doing it, she whispers something.
A secret confession, which Maki, who is deeply moved by this, later relays to the narrator.
What did she say?
She whispered, "Auntie, please forgive me. My people are in the back watching me today, so I can't break the shop rules. If I do, there'll be a lot of trouble. Please understand."
Wow.
And that's it. That's the real climax of their bonding. It confirms everything.
Hiroko's public coldness wasn't real. It was a performance.
A defense mechanism. She was protecting herself from her precarious situation at home. This act proves her loyalty and affection for Maki, and it solidifies this incredibly complex, unspoken mother-daughter relationship they're building.
Maki must have understood then.
She did. She realized that for Hiroko to survive being so timid and constrained at home, she had to go outside and be defiant. She'd go crazy if she couldn't go outside and play.
After that moment, the transformation in both of them is, it's profound.
It's powerful, and it's permanent. The narrator says loneliness and loneliness were no longer loneliness and loneliness.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
It is. Maki gains what's called a calm motherly discernment. She starts taking better care of her own appearance. She's softer.
And Hiroko, now that she has this anchor, this unconditional support,
she develops a modest, diligent disposition. The conflict and the shared vulnerability, it was the foundation they needed to build this deep mutual reliance.
And Maki doesn't just feel like a mother, she starts acting like one, a fierce one.
She becomes Hiroko's protector, her guide. She literally intervenes in her life at critical moments.
She stops her from leaving home to become a waitress, right?
It is, probably sensing the girl could be exploited. She also protects her when the aunt and uncle officially adopt her, acting as a buffer.
But her advocacy is more than just protective, it's strategic. She gives her career advice.
And this is such a wild, specific detail. She recommends nursing. But her reasoning isn't just, it's a good job for a girl.
No, it's based on history.
Obscure history. She cites the Battle of Ueno, which was way back in 1868.
What about it?
She claims that when they switched to organized female nurses during that battle, the medical outcomes for the soldiers measurably improved.
That's incredible.
It shows the seriousness and the intelligence that Maki is now bringing to this role. This isn't just sentiment. She's done her research. She wants Hiroko to have a stable, respected, essential place in the world.
And she puts her money where her mouth is.
She does. She contributes her own earnings, her own savings, to send Hiroko to a Red Cross nursing school.
That financial sacrifice says it all.
Ooh.
This woman, who had lost everything and built a shell around her heart, is now pouring all of her resources into a child that isn't even hers.
And the narrator gets to see the result of all this.
Right back at the Ivy Gate.
Right back where it all started. They'd often see the two of them there saying goodbye or greeting each other. Like a mother and child, just with a bit of an age gap.
And the narrator admits that these scenes would often move them to a tear or two.
You can see why. It's the culmination of this whole quiet, epic story.
And the story continues even when the family moves. They move to a new house in Akasaka, and Maki goes with them.
And what's the first thing they do?
They find the meager little bit of ivy at the new gate, and they deliberately cultivate it.
Until it flourishes again. It's this living testament to the whole relationship. That natural anchor had to come with them.
Which brings us to the final act.
Yeah.
The final realization.
Yes. We jump forward in time. Maki is a very old woman now. She's retired from her chores, mostly just sits and joins in the maid's gossip. She seems at peace.
But she has one last ritual.
One enduring ritual. Every spring during the new shoot season, she goes out and sweeps the front gate.
She leans on her broom right up against the ivy, which is now so dense it's like a green goblin tapestry.
And she looks back at it with nostalgic pleasure. Remembering Hiroko, remembering how it all began.
And then comes the final striking moment.
It's so powerful. She uses the last of the strength in her crippled old body to pick up a toddler, a new child in the household.
And she holds the child up to the ivy.
And she allows the child to pull off as many of the new green shoots as it wants. She just smiles and lets the child have its way.
It's the ultimate reversal.
It's the complete opposite of the inciting incident of the entire story. The very thing that once caused her so much pain and anger is now a source of joy.
The narrator's interpretation of this act is what ties it all together.
It's a profound insight. Maki, in her final years, has realized that the love of the shoots and buds of plants and trees cannot, after all, equal the love of a human child.
The ivy was the catalyst. It was essential.
It was the perfect emotional focus when she had nothing and no one else. But the human bond she forged with Hiroko, that was the thing that provided the real, lasting, transformative fulfillment.
She's so secure in that human love now that she can let the original object of her affection be destroyed by the joyful, chaotic hands of a child.
The whole journey, from this deep, painful isolation to this profound connection, it all happened because of a plant. That initial frustrating conflict, the name-calling, the torn ivy, it was a friction they needed.
The necessary friction.
It was. It allowed two very solitary people to finally see each other, to recognize their mutual need for care, and it changed both of their lives forever.
It's an incredible story. And as the narrator reflects on all of it, watching this beautiful, quiet conclusion with old Maki and the child, a line of poetry comes to them.
From the poet Saigyo, it just sort of floats up in their heart.
And the verse is,
"This is my life, my mountain in the night."
It's this moment of deep personal acceptance, isn't it?
I think so. It suggests that all of it, the beauty, the difficulty, the conflict, the loneliness, the love that grew in this one quiet corner of the world, that is the substance of a life. That is the mountain you are given to navigate. And it leaves you wondering, how many of the most important connections in our own lives were sparked by something just as random, just as humble as an ivy gate?